Hello everybody, it's me again, Mario7100, said my name wrong, whatever. And this time, instead of reading a crappy creepypasta, we are going to be reading an actual creepypasta. A creepypasta that was intended to be creepy and, did its job. So we're going to be possibly reading two today. The first one is called The Rugrats Theory. It's a popular theory. And the second one is called Crybaby Lane. So let's read these two sweet creepypastas. The Rugrats were really just a figment of Angelica's imagination. Chucky died a long time ago along with his mother. That's why Chaz is a nervous wreck all the time. Tommy was a stillborn. That's why Stu is constantly in the basement making toys for the son that he never had. The DeVilles had an abortion. Yeah, the DeVilles, that's where I got the name for the, characters. Had an abortion, and Angelica couldn't figure out whether it was a boy or a girl, so she created the twins. As for All Grown Up, Angelica was a bipolar schizophrenic who as a teenager became addicted to various narcotics, bringing her back to her childhood, thus creating a world in her mind that she obsessed over. Because of the time lapse between the present and the last time she interacted with her imaginary world, she made them older. Angelica was constantly taking hits of acid, so she would never have to live without her creations. To her, her creations were her only company in a judgmental world. Angelica's mother actually died of a heroin overdose. Angelica was schizophrenic and bipolar because she was a crack baby. I'm sorry. I'm getting flashbacks from that crack baby episode from South Park. Sorry. Additionally, Drew, in his depression, married a gold-digging whore that Angelica idolized because she fooled herself into thinking it was her real mom. However, she always had a concept of her mom, Cynthia. She used the Barbie doll to mirror her birth mother's appearance, wearing an unwashed orange dress, jacked up hair, and that's why she's so attached to it. Later in life, she followed in her mom's footsteps, dying of an overdose at age 13 when All Grown Up was cancelled. The only Rograt not to be fictional, however, was unborn Tommy's brother, Dill. However, Angelica didn't know the difference between Dill and her creations. Dill didn't follow her commands, and after endlessly crying and a refusal to just disappear like the others did, when Angelica was angry with them, she hit him. After she hit him, he screamed a screeching tune, and Stu ran in and pulled his niece off of his only child, but it was too late. Dill had a brain hemorrhage, which resulted in basically it resulted in him being deformed. As he grew up, his damage became more evident, and by the time he was 9 and all grown up, he lived as an outcast, being ridiculed for his weirdness and retardation. The immense guilt over this is what caused Angelica to start using drugs, and to uncreate the Rugrats briefly, and deal with her experiences with hallucinogenics. Chaz lost his mind after the death of his first wife and was in denial that she was ever a prostitute. On a trip to Paris to find love, Chaz fell in love with a hooker named Kira. He was originally going to marry a different hooker, but she just wanted him for his money. Kira once had a daughter named Kimmy, but the baby was torn from her by law due to her cocaine addiction. Sorry, I can't talk today. Addiction. Angelica imagined Kimmy from Kira's stories. Upon his return to America, Chaz and Kira married, and she got her green card. It was a surprisingly happy and romantic story. Kira continuously struggled with addiction, but was relatively happy with her new life with Chaz. Susie was Angelica's only friend who entertained the thought of Angelica's creations because they seemed to make her happy. She later became a psychologist I'm sorry, I'm not good. And teamed up with Nickelodeon to make Rugrats. When Angelica died of the overdose, Susie helped arrange her funeral. Because of her addictions and her mental state, Angelica was expelled from society, which led her to break with reality in her eventual death. She spent the last days of her life in the back of the school cafeteria, imagining friends around her and playing with the lives of her creations. In 1999, I was 22 and I had just graduated from Emerson University in downtown Boston, majoring in screenwriting, specifically in cartoons and children programming. My debt was pretty bad, so when Nickelodeon Studios offered me an internship at studio in California, I accepted immediately. I jumped at the chance to get away from dead-end job at Benjamin Franklin tour guide. They messed up the hall. Anybody miss that? Many of you asked to see Crybaby Lane, but if you want to see the original, you never will. Even if Nickelodeon somehow consents to releasing it to you, you won't be seeing what was shown on TV. And you sure as f won't be seeing the original that Lauer made. I don't even think Nickelodeon has the original cut of the movie anymore. And if they do, it's in only backup copies. If the backup copies exist, they must be locked away in some vault along with the deleted episodes of Ren and Stimpy and the never before seen episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm pretty sure the director, Peter Lauer, has the original copy and it's probably on his mantle next to his snuff films. That creepy ass. Anyway, I was hired in 1999, and immediately I was put on a creative project team for the movie Crybaby Lane. It would be almost a year before the movie was due to be broadcast. All in all, it was a pretty low effort kind of thing. There were only 4 people on the creative team, and I was the only steady one. Lara would replace them on a whim. He said it was to keep it fresh. I thought it was because he was hiding something, and I was right. We had a little over a year to make a made-for-TV movie, not just to write it and cast it, but to film it and get it edited. Lauer didn't work fast at all. After the first 3 weeks, we only had the ideas for the first 15 minutes of an 85-minute movie. Lauer, even at this point, was a weirdo. He was tall and lanky and carried himself awkwardly. He stuttered, and when he talked, sometimes when you were hunched over a piece of paper during those endless brainstorming sessions, you look up and catch him staring at you, smiling. He looked away when you caught his eye, and I guess that was the creepiest part. He always looked like he had something to hide. The brainstorming sessions at first were alright. We got the premise of it down. Basically, 2 brothers unleash a demon and they get into mischief trying to get everything back to normal. Not exactly daytime Emmy stuff, but you know, it was an alright start. I thought the movie should be goofy and spooky, you know, kind of like Courage the Cowardly Dog sort of deal. However, from the very beginning, Lauer made it clear that he wanted the film to be as scary as possible. He didn't want it to be cheap thrills with a good wholesome ending. He wanted to push farther than Are You Afraid of the Dark ever dreamt of. And I guess he did. It was about 3 weeks into production when I first noticed something. Lauer had absolute power of persuasion over everyone else in the creative production team. No one fought him, and by the 3rd week he was already suggesting morbid things. I remember when he said that the little brother should die halfway through the movie, getting hit with a dump truck. I immediately shot down. I was the only one who said anything, and it stayed that way until I left the studio entirely and never came back. At first, cannibalism and other f***ed up shit was kept the jokes and taste of tasteless comments, but as time went on, it became more and more overt. I had to give him an idea, which most of the time he would end up using, like, how about the movie starts with a morbid undertaker who reads them stories? To which he will reply, yeah, and then he can cut them up into little pieces and force feed them to his dog. He made these jokes a few times in the early stages. Then he got serious. He stand up like he was Jesus or something, clear his throat loudly and proclaim his idea. I'd be the only one to shoot it down. Every fucking time. One day, near the end of the brainstorming sessions, Lauer cleared his voice and stood up. We all fell silent and looked at him like we normally would. He stood up and said, "Gentlemen and females, I have an idea." I remember what he did. He paused, looked right at me, and he said, "The story will revolve around the legend of a pair of Siamese twins. Have you ever heard of the Donner Party?" Everyone nodded except for me. I didn't like where the conversation was going. They ate themselves when it got cold. They ate each other. Everyone nodded again. I closed my eyes. Why did you close your eyes? What would Siamese twins do if they had nothing to eat? Would one wait until the other twin dies, then consume on her own sister's flesh? Would they claw out each other's eyes until one of them was dead, then dine upon them like a vulture, tearing at the skin of a dead deer? I don't know. It was interesting indeed. I didn't know what the f*** I was hearing. I opened my eyes and I looked around the room. No one was f***ing moving. Everyone's eyes was on Lauer except for mine. And when I looked at him, he was still staring at me. Children like violence. They revel in it. Children like to be scared. So we'll scare them, won't we, Johnny? He leaned over the table, getting pretty damn close to my face. His breath smelled like decaying shit. I stared back at him. I think you're f***ed up, to be honest. He smiled and then backed up. Oh, I'm f***ed up alright. But you have to be f***ed up to survive inside this cutthroat world. His grin expanded. Literally, right now I'm gonna show you some pictures that will spark some of your imaginations. He got up and locked the door from the inside. I stood up and said, "The f*** are you doing? Let's not make any errors in judgment, Jonathan. Sit down." "No, sit!" For some reason, I did. Lauer pulled out one of those shitty overhead projectors. He turned on the switch and he shouted in an unusually high and semi-frantic voice. "This is the f***ing mules need to continue with this pro-f***induction. This is what every child should see." His eyes bulged out of his head. He put the image down on the glass surface of the overhead. It was silent. The image was in black and white, but it was grainy. I could vaguely make out a boy lying on the brick floor, his arms cut off, his bloody little nub black dots. And his bloody little nub black dots. The only thing that was clear was his face. He was bleeding from the mouth. Lauer almost threw the paper off the overhead, slamming another one down. It was a zoomed in shot of the boy's face. It was in color. The blood trickled down from his open mouth into the brick floor. His eyes shut, grimy blood underneath his eyebrows and eyelashes. Then his eyes opened and I screamed. No one else in the f***ing room did, and it died in infancy. The shrillness ringing in the air. The pupils were completely black, the rest of the eye was normal. The longer I stared, the more the eyes were open, widening until it looked like the skin above his eyebrows and eye sockets were gonna rip in half. Then they started to bleed. Blood started as a trickle, and I swear to God I could hear it. More. Now it was a full-blown stream. More, until the brick on the floor was a lake of blood. I could hear it, like I was hiking and I came across a stream, and now I could smell the kid. I could smell the fucking rot. I leaned underneath the table and vomited. When I rose back up, the images were gone. Everyone else in the room was expressionless. Lauer turned on the lights. "You may go," he said, unlocking the door. I walked through those fucking doors and never came back. This happened near the end of the brainstorming process, and by the time I left, the casting was done, the script was almost fully written. They were desperately behind schedule. I think Lauer planned it that way, so there wouldn't be time for proper editing. I never watched the real thing when it aired, but I heard from a friend who was working at the editing department that they had to cut a good 15 to 20 minutes of disturbing footage from the film before it was fit to be released. And it was only fit to... it was fit to be released, and it was only fit to be released. What? They didn't have enough time to check the footage frame by frame. Oh no. I guess he got his wish. Unless they cut every single scene that had the picture in them. Every child watching Crybaby Lane has an unconscious memory of those pictures, and I weep for them. I really do. They f*** me up. And as I write this to you, it'll be the last thing I'll ever write before I slit my throat and before blood splatters all over this f***ing computer screen. There's something I should tell you though. Early on, Lauer posed an idea of the two brothers capturing a squirrel, putting said squirrel in the jar and slowly drowning it before filling the jar with sand and dropping it into the bottom of the pond. Soon after this was suggested, Sandy from SpongeBob SquarePants appeared at Tea at the Tree Dome. Lauer also suggested in one scene of the movie for a man with a squid-like nose to take off his pants in front of the two boys and rape them off camera, but heavily implied. Squidward soon appeared as a major character in SpongeBob SquarePants. It was suggested that the two be stepbrothers, forced to live in the same house after the first one's mom was found dead in a shallow grave, her body heavily cannibalized by her own husband, a local weatherman. A show with the vaguely premise Drake and Josh started in 2004, and his stepfather was indeed a weatherman. Lauer also suggested that the younger brother have a doghouse in which he keeps various animal fetuses encased in acid that he would regularly use to poison his mother to have sex with his abusive stepfather, as told by Ginger, debuted soon after. A man who captures the souls of children in a vacuum cleaner and sends them to Hades? Danny Phantom. A robot who goes insane on the two brothers, kills one of them, wears his skin pretending to be the dead brother at high school? My Life as a Teenage Robot. The list goes on and on. Nickelodeon knows. They are continuing the legacy of Lauer, sometimes subtly and sometimes overtly, and there's nothing you can do about it. Do you want to see it? You got it.
Goddamn, I'm glad y'all set it off.
Oh boy, these two sweet creepypastas. Yeah, these were read as creepypastas, not CrappyPastas, and that is kind of surprising because these aren't that good. Like, they're so popular, and people say that they're so good when these aren't that good. So let's start with the Rugrats theory and see what's wrong with it. So basically, the Rugrats theory is not put well together. Basically, it has no evidence for what it's trying to say. Because it's trying to say that basically Angelica was, schizophrenic. She was imagining the whole entire thing. Sorry, and excuse me. And basically, everything was like her imagination and stuff like that, and everything didn't go the way it was. When it did not supply that much evidence to it, the only like two pieces of evidence was like the twins and Chucky's mom dying. That was like the only thing, And like there was no real evidence to it, and it like went off and like it just went for shock value basically. Like did you know that Cynthia was actually like a whore? Like it went for like shock value, as in like I ruined your childhood shock value. It did not try to like do anything special. It didn't give any real evidence. It didn't do anything really. It was just really bland and really, stupid. And many people on the website, the Creepypasta Wiki website, agree with me in saying that this should be moved to the Troll Pasta Wiki, and I do agree with them because it's not really that good. It does not have any evidence to, it hardly has any evidence to back it up with, and like it went off into like a, into like darker stuff and stuff like that, and it kind of put me out the mood. In fact, I actually heard about this theory once, and it kind of did ruin like my childhood. Be like, Rugrats, no, and stuff like that. But once I really thought about it, I'm like, this isn't true. This totally isn't true. No evidence to it at all, and stuff like that. And that's all I gotta say about the Rugrats theory. It was a good effort, but not too good. 5 out of 10. Now let's get to Crybaby Lane. And I read this creepypasta once, and I can say this from the get-go, I didn't really like this one either. Because guess what? I felt that it was trying to be Squidward suicide, which it isn't really bad. Like, for me, it's okay, but you know, it's trying to go, just like the Rugrats theory, it's trying to go for the shock factor, not for the actual, you know, for the actual story and stuff. I would have actually liked to hear more about, you know, Peter Lorre or something. I would have actually liked to learn more about him and see where he got all that, you know, creepy stuff from, you know? Like, did he have like a bad childhood or something like that, or stuff like that? And the story did have some, like, you know, you know, build up, and, you know, it was building up to like this thing about him hiding something, and about him like being more than just a, you know, just a director inside of a movie and stuff like that. It hinted to more than that. And then after that, when it was like hinting to him being straight up insane and possibly, you know, actually like scary and stuff, it just like everything like goes to shit after that. Like everything literally just goes to shit after that. Like right after we get some interesting stuff in there, everything just falls apart and becomes really cheesy and really funny. In fact, I had to actually edit like some of the parts because I laughed because the dialogue was so cheesy. Like seriously, like this is the news. What? The dialogue just became cheesy, and guess what? The guy kills himself inside the end. Well, it doesn't tell him that. Like the guy says he's gonna like kill himself, and I'm like, what? Why are you gonna kill yourself? There's no reason to. Like, is he coming at you like the boogeyman coming at you? But no, he just does it just to be stupid. I mean, just to, I don't know, be relevant or something. And then they pull like the picture of like the bloody kid and stuff like that for no reason. Like we know that lawyers like messed up inside of the head, but we're like, why did they pull the pic? It's kind of like Squidward suicide, where they pulled the gory pictures of the, like, you know, the kid and stuff like that. Like there was no point to that at all. There was really no point. But I do actually kind of like how they did kind of, you know, connect all of those ideas that lawyer put, and you know how Nickelodeon used them to some shows and stuff like that. But that actually did confuse me too. Like, why would you use like concepts like that to make like shows? I'm like, what? And stuff. And here, like, they don't really have a realistic action to, like, for basically, this is what happens. Basically, they don't, like, the staff doesn't have realistic action, and it says that, like, reaction basically. It says that he had total control, but I'd be the first one to say, hello, this isn't right, we should, you know, call the police and stuff like that. But it seems like the main character was like the only one to, like, you know, step up and say, you know, this guy's doing something bad, we might want to call the police. Basically, what I want to say is that this thing just ended up being really cheesy and really crappy, with a lot of gore and stuff like that. And gore isn't scary, basically. And the fact that they tried like implement it and say like, hey, like, you know, gore and blood and stuff, and the guy's insane and stuff, and like hinting at him being a serial killer, like, that's not that original. It seems like you're ripping off Squidward suicide. So basically, that's all I gotta say about these two sweet creepypastas. They weren't that scary, and that's all I gotta say. They weren't really that scary, they weren't really that impactful, and they weren't that good. So I'll see you guys later on, and bye.